Devil's favorite advocate, Deuce Loosely here. I'm back. For better or worse, anyway. Reason that I was missing in action last week was because I was having voice issues. I had a convention to work, and there was just a whole bunch of stuff going on. And honestly, I really didn't have anything to talk about last week. There was really nothing interesting enough to, expand on. And that's a topic that I'm going to get to in a few minutes here because this is kind of a serious thing. This is something that I really want to get into. And I'm not going to, explain any further until I get to it. For right now, I just want to, for those of you who remember the quote-unquote pay-per-view Fastlane, I just want to say that I did really crappy with the predictions last week, or 2 weeks ago, or whenever this thing was, I don't remember. For the most part, it wasn't even worth remembering anyway. So let me just run down what I got right and what I got wrong. Roman Reigns won against Daniel Bryan. We all knew that was going to happen. Rusev won against Lal. Cena wins, which was kind of a crap, way to end it. But they had to stretch it out, so they had to stretch out the program until WrestleMania. And how are they going to do that if Cena was carrying the title? It's like once he gets the title, it's probably going to be forever until he lets it go. So anyway. Yeah, he's going to win at WrestleMania. Just mark that down. Let's see. Bad News Barrett won against Dean Ambrose. Kind of knew that was going to happen. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd won against the Usos. And, you're kind of on a downhill slide if you're carrying divas to the ring as accessories. Unfortunately, both of them are doing this, so I really don't know what to say about the tag team division, except WWE needs a tag team division. Anyway, yeah, Cesaro and Kidd were just kind of a thrown together thing, and I still don't really consider them a legit tag team. Blech. Let's see, Paige did not win against the Bella. Don't care. Cody Rhodes did not win against Dustin Rhodes. And this whole Dust gimmick needs to just go away. I think it's outlived its purpose. I think it's lived past its shelf life. It's kind of stale. Just needs to not happen anymore. Cody Rhodes, I've contended for a long time, he should have been the next Blackjack Mulligan. He should have been the next, Barry Windham or whatever. He needs to be the next roughneck kind of guy. I mean, he has it in him. It's painfully obvious. I mean, Dusty Rhodes is his dad. Come on. It's only logical. He's got the best role model for that particular character that he could find. Come on. Do something better. Do something that's not involving him being a clown, okay? And at the end, let's see, my last prediction was Team Rollins beat out Team Ziggler for the pre-show match, like anybody cared. At the end of the night, I came out 4-3, which pushed my 2015 prediction total to 11-8. And it's kind of a shabby beginning, and I'm hoping that this turns around because I don't like the way those numbers look. All right. The next thing I want to get to is the fact that I did not watch last week's edition of Raw, a.k.a. the February. It wasn't this past week's Raw. It was the Raw before that. March 2nd was the last one I saw. So it was the last Raw in February that I didn't watch and didn't even bother. it was on the DVR, and I had thoughts about going through it, but time passed and interest waned, and I just didn't really care to. I didn't even watch the lockdown edition of Impact, and that kind of bothers me a little bit. It's not for the reviews or anything that I read, and it's not for lack of interest, but I'll get to that as soon as I get past this. Actually, what I'm going to tell you, running down the March 2nd edition of Raw, kind of relates to the point that I want to make. Just running from top to bottom, and I just wrote down a bunch of notes. If I missed anything in that show, it's because I wasn't interested enough in them to write them down. They didn't, interest me enough to bother. The beginning, of course, we start Raw with a bunch of talking. Not just talking, but slow talking. Slow talking. We've got to stretch it out. We've got to fluff up this segment for time, because they're certainly not filling it with matches or whatever. Let's see. I'm wondering at this point why Orton hasn't made an appearance to make his move on Rollins yet. Well, eventually he did make an appearance, but he didn't move on Rollins. But I can see it happening. It's gonna happen. It looks like one of those keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer type things. There's no way that Orton is rejoining the Authority. Come on, how naive do you have to be? Did they really have... Okay, I gotta look at my notes in better light here. Did they really have a separate Raw theme for the Divas? They showed that there was going to be a Divas match in the previews, and they played a separate theme for them. And then they went back to playing the actual Raw theme. And it made me wonder, is this the attitude that they're having with their Divas division? Is this how much WWE thinks about the women? I mean, they respect the women's division in NXT more than they do the Divas, and this to me is kind of a testament to that. They have different themes for them. It sounds like they're trying to separate the Divas from the rest of the division as much as possible. It's like, this is the leftover stuff that we have, and this is our main division. So, I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird to me. Let's see, for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, it's a Money in the Bank ladder match for the most part. It's just the Intercontinental title belt rather than a contract and a briefcase. So that's what we're going to get at WrestleMania between Luke Harper, R-Truth, Dolph Ziggler, and Wade Barrett, and whoever else. I really don't know. It's a Money in the Bank ladder match, okay, for the Intercontinental title, and which needs to regain its prestige. It needs to regain its relevance somehow. I just don't see this as being it. I don't see this as being the vehicle to do it. They need someone who will carry it for a long enough period of time and carry it in such a way that it seems important. Right now, it's not happening. It hasn't been happening for at least a few years, so that needs to change. The downgrading of Damian Sandow is not even realistic when, we all know he never needed Miz to begin with. They need to just get this out of the way. They need to get the split done. They need to get these guys going against each other. They need to give Sandow his identity back. They need to give him his character back. They need to give everything that they took away from him when he joined Miz back. They need to give it back to him. Sandow is not being done any favors by, them saddling him with Miz. So, let's see. The Divas, of course, they ruined the tag match that happened between the Usos and Cesaro and Kid. Again, the Divas ruined pretty much anything, so no surprise there. And one thing that bothers me, it bothers me in a weird kind of way. I was actually agreeing with Stephanie McMahon about everything she was saying about John Cena and his role in the WWE, and especially in terms of WrestleMania. He really does need to sit one out. WrestleMania will go on without Cena. It might even be better without Cena, but they're going to shoehorn him in there somehow. They're going to somehow make Rusev accept John Cena's, bid for a title match at WrestleMania. That's all John Cena wants, is to get on WrestleMania, and we all want him to not. Please, please just keep saying no, Rusev. Just say no. And then Triple H comes out and ruins everything more by talking. Yeah, he's calling out Sting or whatever, but, we're not going to see him until WrestleMania, so, whatever. I guess AJ is back to carry the Divas division again. I don't know how to feel about this, because really, she said that she'd taken time off to, because of neck problems. Now she's going to have back problems from carrying an entire division by herself. Hopefully, and why am I forgetting her name? The other diva, the one that I was talking about before, that was taking on the Bella at Fastlane. It is Paige. That's her name. This is a problem, the fact that they don't elevate the divas enough that we remember their names. Anyway, AJ and Paige are going to be left to carry the division. The Seth Rollins and Jon Stewart segment, I actually enjoyed that, and it was only because of Jon Stewart. It was a bunch of blah, 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 but oh my God, Jon Stewart killed it. Like he does everything. He's a natural in there. He's a natural on the mic. But as far as Seth Rollins goes, I would rather hear Henry Rollins in his place. So anyway, Paul Heyman, I could listen to him shoot all night long. I mean, he was just going off. And the only time he ever goes off the way he did, the only time he ever goes kayfabe, is when he is about to lose it all, when he is about to suffer a great loss. And we all know what's coming. Lesnar's going to drop the title at WrestleMania. And, if it wasn't just storyline, all of these stories about the fights that Lesnar and Vince McMahon are having backstage, it's inevitable. Lesnar's going to drop the title at WrestleMania. So count on it. And now they are letting Heyman loose with his shoot promos. And as far, and Lesnar, speaking of him, he was supposed to appear on the last Raw of February. But, again, halfway through the show, he had a fight with Vince McMahon, and they were having arguments backstage, and apparently everyone could hear their words, and Lesnar just left the building, and he didn't come back. He didn't appear like he was supposed to. There are rumblings that Lesnar may or may not pull a no-show at WrestleMania. Personally, I would like to see him stick it to Vince, appear on WrestleMania, collect the paycheck, and do the finger poke of doom or something like that. I want to see it happen. I would laugh myself into, till my face was blue. I would laugh myself hysterical if that happened. Then let's see, WWE Network, account sharing has been banned. You can no longer host your WWE account on two devices at once. Or at least, I'm not 100% sure how this works, but they are cracking down on people sharing accounts. And they are threatening people with subscription termination, oh no's, and possible fines or charges being brought or whatever if anyone tries to circumvent this. Not that the network is worth all that trouble anyway, but I don't think this is going to result in more subscriptions either. So we will see how that goes. Let's see. Rey Mysterio is no longer with WWE. He's doing convention appearances. At last report, he was demanding from one convention a $20,000 appearance fee, which is outrageous for anyone. It's just a convention. But the rumors circulating is that he will probably end up in AAA, a.k.a. Lucha Underground. So keep an eye on Ray, and let's see where that goes. Finally, Brock Lesnar, he was seen many times hanging out with Dana White at UFC 184. The rumors about him returning to UFC gain more traction as the more time passes. He's going to be gone from WWE. He is not going to re-sign, not after everything we've heard and everything we've seen, and the fact that, how many times have we seen guys scheduled for appearances walk out on a show before they're scheduled to appear? It's extremely rare if it ever happens, and Brock Lesnar did it 2 weeks ago. So this is going to be interesting. I'm really anxious to see how this plays out. What is Brock Lesnar going to do while he is on contract with WWE? How is he going to handle UFC if he does go back, which is more than likely from the way things are turning out? So anyway, that's the week that was. Oh, and as far as Impact went, it was an enjoyable show this week. I liked it a lot. Just so many things happened. Magnus cut an excellent promo this week against Bram. We didn't see Mickie James come out to, talk for him this time, but that's a good thing because Magnus needed to speak for himself. Bram, on the other hand, was approached by James Storm backstage, and Storm is apparently courting Bram to join the Revolution. This, if it happens, even if Bram starts to associate himself more with James Storm, it's going to give Magnus a lot more to do in the future, having to, deal with Bram and then deal with James Storm and deal with the Revolution. Who knows? We may even see him go up against Koya, a.k.a. Mahabali Shera. So I'm kind of anxious to see how that turns out. Things happen in TNA. You just gotta watch, and there's no excuse for not seeking it out. You know what channel they're on. You just need to go look for it. It's more than likely your local cable subscriber or cable service or whatever carries it. Just look for it. If it doesn't, then there are other avenues to follow. Just, do that. All right, that was the week that was this past week. Now, the thing that I was going to get to earlier about, why I didn't watch any wrestling at all the week before, it had nothing to do with the convention. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was, preparing for the convention last weekend. I can usually fit wrestling into my schedule, even when I've got stuff coming up. Now, the reason that it didn't happen this week is because, and I didn't have anything to talk about last week because there was nothing interesting going on. WWE has a hard time selling its pay-per-views. They have a hard time selling their events. Raw isn't doing it. Raw is not the vehicle anymore. Raw is not the way to sell the pay-per-view events anymore. And the sell that is leading up to WrestleMania, it's not doing it for me, and it's not making me care about WrestleMania. It's not making me look forward to it. There's something that's not happening that they used to be able to do in previous years to get people excited for WrestleMania, and it's not happening anymore. It didn't happen last year either. Maybe the year before it was better, but this is probably the weakest year in terms of building up to WrestleMania. Hell, we haven't even seen Undertaker yet. We haven't heard from Undertaker yet. As far as I'm concerned, all I want is for Undertaker to walk to the ring at WrestleMania, hand over his urn or whatever, hand over the torch to Bray Wyatt, and walk out under his own power for once. Because I don't want to see Undertaker lose another match or even win another match and be carried out like he has been for the past 3 years. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see his opponents slow down to match pace with Undertaker. I really don't care to see Undertaker at WrestleMania, honestly. And they're not selling this confrontation at all. Undertaker hasn't appeared yet in any way, in any form. We haven't even gotten a Titantron thing from him. So, I'm starting to get the impression that Undertaker's not going to show up, or that maybe Bray Wyatt's talking about somebody else. I would really like to see him call out Kane and get that big red monster persona back, full force. Right now Kane's a joke and he needs something to come back to. Bray Wyatt would be a good vehicle for that, but I really don't think that this is the thing that's happening. And as far as John Cena and Rusev go, I don't think anybody cares about that except for USA. No one cares about Cena enough to invest themselves in that storyline. Daniel Bryan, I really don't know how he's going to work into WrestleMania, not from this point. I mean, they're probably going to try to shoehorn him in there somehow, but it's going to be a weak sell. It's going to be a short sell, and it's not going to be enough time or effort to get people invested in it. Oh, wait a minute. There's that Intercontinental thing, isn't there? That title thing, that Money in the Intercontinental title ladder match thingy. Okay, yeah, there's that. Never mind. That's how Daniel Bryan's going to get into WrestleMania. Roman Reigns is going to win his match at WrestleMania. Don't even doubt it. Randy Orton might have something to do with whatever Seth Rollins is going to fail at WrestleMania. So that could be something else to count on, unless they decide to save it for the night after WrestleMania, which we all know is the big ratings draw for the year for Raw. It's usually a better show than WrestleMania. So, anyway, the problem that I'm trying to get to here is that WWE is causing me to not care as much about wrestling anymore. And it's causing me to turn the TV off. It's causing me to not watch live Monday night. It's causing me to put it off. I'm the kind of person that if I don't watch something when it airs, the longer time passes, the better the chance is that I'm not even going to watch this particular episode. That I may just drop out of a series altogether. It's happened. I mean, I tried watching Walking Dead episode season 2. And I quit halfway through because I kind of lost interest in one of the episodes. And I meant to watch the next episode, never did. I thought, okay, I'll come back to it next week. I never went back to it, and time went on, and I just figured, I'm too far behind now. I just don't care, whatever. And it's the same thing with any series that I don't pay attention to. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., another example. I really enjoyed that show. But I missed one episode, let time pass. I missed another episode. 3 weeks went by, a month went by, and I realized, maybe I just don't care about this show as much as I thought I did. WWE is conditioning me to adopt that mindset with them. And I don't like it. I don't like this. It's kind of, spilling over into other federations, into other wrestling shows. I really don't like the idea that maybe I'm not as interested in wrestling as I used to be. It's WWE I'm not interested in. They're not giving me anything to be interested in. The more I watch it, the more I realize how ridiculous they're becoming. And when I watched Impact this week, I realized that this is why I watch these shows. I watch for the relatability, for the realism, there is realism in this stuff. It's not, it's scripted, okay, we all know this, but it's a matter of being able to relate to what you're watching, and Impact offers that more than WWE ever could. Right now, WWE is a clown show. It's a circus for kids, and I don't relate to any of it. I don't relate to it. They really don't present anything that you can intelligently discuss anymore. So they're kind of giving me every excuse to not watch their show, specifically, I guess. SmackDown, I don't even consider a show. It's a 2-hour commercial for Raw. And it's a rematch show for past Raws, or the last pay-per-view or whatever. It's not even worth watching anymore. All I can say basically is that WWE is presenting an atmosphere that is making people like me care less about wrestling, and I have to push myself to watch TNA to remind myself that there are other options out there, that there is actual wrestling out there. WWE doesn't provide it. These other people do. So I have to say, if WWE wants me to watch Raw, they're going to have to do a lot better than they have been. They're going to have to put the wheels back on the cart and hook it up to the horse and get that thing moving, because right now it's sitting in neutral and they're coasting. They're mailing it in. They just feel like whatever they're doing, it's good enough. It's good enough. They don't have to compete with anybody. They don't need to improve themselves. They just need to keep doing what they're doing. The fans will buy it regardless, and we're just coasting along, making steady money off of them. They'll never, it's become ingrained in them. It's become a habit. It's become a routine with them. They'll just keep buying it. They'll keep attending shows. We'll just keep stringing them along with the hope that things will improve or things will change, and then we'll pull a bait and switch and it'll be business as usual. And this is exactly why I am falling out of grace with, or WWE's falling out of grace with me. I'm just tired of it, and my DVR will take care of all the crap that I don't care about. if I do happen to watch an episode of Raw on the DVR, it'll probably take an hour for me to get through it, if that. So, anyway, it's kind of a distressing thought that, I could possibly, after 31 years, become disinterested in wrestling because of something like Raw. And I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen. I mean, and I'm glad that TNA is still around. I just hope TNA turns their shit around and, realizes the mistakes that they're making and realizes that there are things that they need to do to improve their product. They probably don't have as far to go in terms of content, in terms of talent, but as far as production goes, as far as the direction that they're taking in production, they need work. They need to work on that. So, anyway, I have rambled on quite long enough, and quite too long, as a matter of fact. So, about 31 minutes. So I'm just going to cut this off right now and spare you any more bloating or bleating, whatever. I promise that I will have something more of value to talk about next week. And if you stuck with me this far, I appreciate you more than you can imagine. I just hope that you understand where I'm coming from. Maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you don't. Feel free to leave comments. Feel free to tell me if you have a differing opinion or if you agree or whatever. But just, leave a comment or something. Tell me what you think. Or, maybe if there's something I missed about the points I was making, feel free to let me know. Ask me questions. I am totally open to answering questions. So, anyway, this has been Deuce Loosely, Devil's favorite advocate, speaking to you from my little dungeon in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Don't know why I told you that last part, but anyway, this is me signing off, saying, see you next week. Bye-bye.